The Stormers, the pride of Cape Town and Western Cape rugby. They have been so close to winning Super Rugby on more than one occasion, but have failed to make it all the way. They made it to the semi-finals several times, as well as a Super Rugby final in 2010, but never struck gold. How and why is this the case? Are the Stormers just unlucky, or is there a more concerning underlying issue? Let's take a look at the history of the Stormers in Super Rugby. The Stormers played in the first ever Super 12 competition in 1996, but had disappointing results. They won only 3 out of 11 games and placed second last on the log. A rough start, unfortunately, for the Cape Town side. They did not qualify for Super Rugby the following year due to not placing in the top 4 in the Currie Cup, which was the system that SA Rugby used at the time. The top 4 teams at the end of each Currie Cup season would qualify for Super Rugby. There's not too much to read into here. The Stormers were most likely going through a rough patch, which is normal for any professional team. In 1999, things changed for the better. They only lost 3 games and finished second on the overall log. Unfortunately, they lost to the Highlanders in their home-based semi-final. Nonetheless, it was a big improvement from 1996. Sadly, things at the Stormers started to go downhill again after the season. They came 5th in 2000, 7th in 2001, 7th in 2002, and 9th in 2003. But then, in 2004, they reached the semi-finals once more. They sadly lost and fell back to 9th place the next season. The first 9 years of Super Rugby was frustratingly inconsistent for the Stormers. It seemed that they struggled to get proper momentum and continuity going between seasons, and this would continue from 2006 when the competition expanded to the Super 14. They came 11th in 2006, 10th in 2007, 5th in 2008, and 10th in 2009. 2009 marked a 5-year drought of failing to reach the playoffs. But then, in 2010, something amazing happened. The Stormers, against all odds, reached the Super Rugby final. They jumped from 10th place in 2009 all the way up to 2nd place. Absolutely incredible. They lost to the Bulls in the final, but only by 8 points. Remember, at this time, the Bulls were truly a rugby powerhouse. The Stormers could be very proud of how far they had come. So how did they do this? How did the Stormers change things around in such a short period of time? The answer is simple. Rassie Erasmus and Allister Coetzee. Rassie Erasmus started to make the right changes at the Stormers when he was head coach in 2008. 2009 was a dip, but Allister Coetzee was able to capitalize on the progress that Rassie had already made. Now, we all know Allister had a shocking record with the Springboks, but let's focus on his stint with the Stormers, which was impressive, at least in the beginning. It seemed that Allister had adopted the right kind of game plan for the Stormers, which made all the difference. The Stormers started to play a kicking-dominated style of rugby with strong defense. Of course, Allister's life was made a bit easier when star Springboks Jacques Free and Brian Havana joined the franchise in 2010. But Allister was still the one who brought everything together. He chose the right game plan, one which worked great at the time, and that's what made the difference. In 2011, the Stormers once again came second on the combined log, but unfortunately lost the semi-final to the Crusaders. 2012 was their best season yet, as they finished first on the overall log, yet failed to make the final. It isn't very common in Super Rugby for the team that finishes first to get knocked out of the semi-final. In fact, it's quite embarrassing. The Stormers had a home semi-final against the Sharks, a game they easily could have won. They lost this game despite being dominant all season. The Stormers reached the playoffs 3 years in a row, but failed to capitalize on the opportunities. I believe they were becoming chokers, and the 2012 season was evidence of that. The Stormers were the team that deserved to win Super Rugby that year, but they failed to perform in a knockout game. 2012 was the best shot that the Stormers had. After that season, their playing style didn't work as well. It became predictable and outdated, and other teams had it all figured out. Allister Coetzee failed to change and adapt the team when the circumstances demanded it, and he probably stayed on at the Stormers for too long. Things didn't go well at the Stormers again after 2012, and they never made the semi-finals again. In 2013, they came 7th, and 11th in 2014. Yet, Allister Coetzee stayed on. The team desperately needed a fresh start. Allister Coetzee left in 2016, but by then it was too little too late. Many of the Stormers' star players were now gone, such as Jean de Villiers, Skalk Burger. The Stormers, like any other South African team, suffered an exodus of talent. It was a rebuilding phase, and the Stormers only started to look truly comfortable again under the right coach, John Dobson, in 2020. They had developed a solid team and had 4 wins out of 6 games. They were on track to get in a playoff spot, but then of course COVID interrupted the season. In summary, the Stormers had an excellent opportunity to win Super Rugby in the early 2010s when they were consistently near the top of the Super Rugby table. However, they failed to handle the pressure of the knockout stages and did not adapt to changing circumstances. Their game plan became outdated and their coach stayed on for too long. It's disappointing because the Stormers were so close to winning the whole competition on more than one occasion, but just missed out. I really hope they can regain their momentum when they play in the Pro 14. And who knows, maybe in their first year of the competition, they'll win the whole thing. Thanks so much for watching, guys. See you next time.